Hello and welcome to the Deep Dive. And yes, this is Read It or Skip It. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something really special. It's a book that clearly didn't just entertain someone. It seems it profoundly resonated, described as arriving at, well, exactly the right time. We're going to unpack a really heartfelt review of Sarah Adams's Beg, Borrow, or Steal. It's contemporary romance that, seems to have captured hearts and minds. We want to explore why it made such a powerful connection with this particular reader.
That's right. And, a book review like this one, especially when it highlights such personal impact, it gives us a unique window into the sheer power of storytelling.
How so?
Well, it moves beyond just like the plot mechanics. It really delves into how a narrative can create this profound connection, this emotional resonance. It meets a reader precisely where they are in life.
That's a fascinating point. When a reviewer tells us this book made them laugh, swoon, and even, quote, cry buckets, what does that signal? Beyond just the emotion itself.
It signals a really high level of craft, I think. It suggests the author isn't just, telling a story, but actually crafting an experience.
An experience, okay.
Yeah, that means the narrative probably has excellent emotional control. It knows exactly when to pull you into laughter and when to genuinely tug at your heartstrings. It's about building characters and situations that feel so authentic, so real, that your emotional response just kind of happens. It feels unbidden and visceral.
Right. So let's really dig into this idea of a book arriving at exactly the right time. What is it about a story, especially in this genre, contemporary romance, romantic comedy, like Beg, Borrow, or Steal, what allows it to land with such profound impact for someone at a specific moment?
Well, it often comes down to the universal human experiences it taps into, doesn't it? Things we all sort of recognize.
Like what specifically in this case?
So this book touches on core themes like love and loss, obviously, but also self-discovery, second chances, and that really powerful concept of found family. And I think what makes it particularly resonant, based on the review, is how it explores these themes. It does it through the lens of a slow burn romance.
Ah, the slow burn, okay.
Yeah, so it's not just that these themes are present, it's how the humor and the romance maybe serve as a kind of balm or maybe a lens to explore the tougher stuff. It makes the emotional impact even stronger because it feels earned, it feels real.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, the review notes, it's part of the When in Rome series, but it clearly stands strong on its own. That says a lot about its self-contained emotional power, I think.
That's a great point. It's fascinating how a book described as a romantic comedy can handle such, deep themes. And we should definitely highlight, before we go further, the trigger warnings mentioned.
Yes, definitely important.
The review notes grief, loss of a parent, and emotional burnout. So while this is fundamentally a rom-com, the reviewer praised how sensitively the author weaves these serious themes in with real heart. They don't overwhelm the story, apparently.
Which is a tricky balance to strike.
Exactly. A delicate balance the book seems to master. Okay, so speaking of complex dynamics, let's talk about the main characters. They've got Emily and Jack, both high school teachers, which is interesting, and, plot twist, secretly writers. The review describes their initial vibe as a love-hate relationship, constantly pushing each other's buttons. Classic.
It is classic, but what sounds really interesting here is how this book apparently elevates that enemies to lovers trope.
How does it do that, beyond the usual witty retorts?
Well, a lot of stories maybe rely on, let's say, petty squabbles or misunderstandings, but here it seems the elevation comes from the authenticity of their conflict and connection. Their relationship develops through forced proximity, another classic element, but it's specifically catalyzed by a hilarious manuscript heist.
A manuscript heist. Okay, I love that already. That sounds fun.
Doesn't it? And it seems like that event really entangles them. It's that kind of organic, almost unavoidable collaboration that grounds the trope. It breaks down their walls through genuine interaction, not just, contrived situations.
That makes sense. That dynamic must spark a lot of the humor the reviewer mentioned. The witty banter and teasing messages, it sounds like just a real delight to read.
Yeah, the fun factor seems high.
So let's dive a bit deeper into the characters. Emily's character, the reviewer says, really hit hard. She's described as the eldest daughter who recently lost her mother. Someone who's just used to keeping everything together for everyone else. You can feel the weight there. The review highlights the raw relatability of her grief, her exhaustion, her quiet resilience. I mean, haven't we all felt that pressure sometimes? Trying to hold it all together?
Oh, absolutely. That resonates.
So her struggle, even within a romance novel context, clearly hits home for people.
And what sounds really powerful in Emily's journey, based on the review, is this message that emerges. Sometimes being strong means allowing yourself to be vulnerable. That's huge.
It really is. And Jack's role in this.
Well, it's not about him fixing her, which is refreshing. It sounds much more nuanced.
Yeah.
He's described as her perfect match because he sees her, truly sees her. And he encourages her to, maybe for the first time, put herself first. He gets her quiet strength, but also sees the hidden pain underneath.
That's so important in a relationship.
Exactly. And there's this quote from the book that the reviewer included. It's quite beautiful. "You are not alone, Emily. I would walk through my worst memories to get to you every single time."
Wow. That's intense. What does that quote really tell us about their dynamic?
I think it underlines Emily's deep sense of isolation, maybe born from that grief and responsibility. And it shows Jack's unwavering commitment to breaking through that. It's about seeing past the competent facade, right, to the vulnerable person inside.
Yeah. And it sounds like Jack isn't just an emotional rock. He's also just appealing. The review calls him charming and protective, but not overbearing.
Right. Not suffocating. Supportive.
Exactly. And what really seems to stand out is how real these characters feel. Like people you could actually imagine meeting in real life.
And that realism you mentioned, that's critical. It feeds directly into why the slow burn romance works so well here, it seems.
Makes sense. It's not just instant fireworks.
Precisely. It's not just immediate attraction. It allows the reader to witness and crucially believe in the organic growth of their trust and affection. It's about them learning to lean on each other and, really importantly, learning to believe in love even when life has been unfair. That kind of deep character work, it just makes the romance feel so much more impactful and enduring.
Absolutely. Okay, so beyond these fantastic characters, the review also praises Sarah Adams' writing style. It's described as light and engaging, making it easy to breeze through the pages.
Which is always a plus.
Definitely. Especially when you're invested, you just want to get swept away, right?
And that speaks to what the review calls perfect pacing. The author seems to masterfully balance the humor and heartache.
How so? What specific elements did the reviewer mention?
They specifically called out the sharp and hilarious banter, we talked about that, and also their email interactions as being particularly effective.
Oh, emails. That can be such a fun way to show character.
Exactly. These aren't just throwaway clever lines. They sound like the engine driving the character development and the narrative forward. They bring the story to life and keep the reader absolutely hooked. That kind of dynamic writing is gold.
I can totally see that. It sounds like it all weaves together to create this book that's, as the review puts it, funny, romantic, and full of heart. Something that makes you laugh one moment and tear up the next.
The perfect blend, really. Laughter through tears, or maybe tears through laughter.
Yeah. Okay, so to give you the gist, the quick takeaway on Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams seems to be a heartfelt, witty, emotional, slow burn romance. Based on this glowing review, it really sounds like an absolute must-read if you love that gradual, believable kind of romance, sharp banter, and maybe most importantly, characters who feel like real people.
You know, this whole discussion, diving into this review and the book itself, kind of raises a bigger question for us all, doesn't it?
Go on.
How do stories like those stories that explore really complex, tough emotions like grief and vulnerability, but still manage to be fun and romantic? How do they help us understand the nuances of human connection and resilience in our own lives? What can we maybe learn about the courage it takes to actually let someone in, especially when life is throwing curveballs? About finding strength not just on our own, but in that shared experience.
That is definitely something to chew on. The power of a book that just sticks with you, that stays with you long after you turn the last page. It's truly profound. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. And yes, this is Read It or Skip It.